Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NCAAF matches that is happening on Thursday, October 12th, 2023. We will be providing our team, total, and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comment section below. West Virginia versus Houston. West Virginia is 4-1 overall this season. They are currently 2-0 in Big 12 conference play. After losing to number 7 Penn State in Week 1, the Mountaineers have peeled off 4 straight wins leading into Thursday night. West Virginia defeated Texas Tech and TCU in their 2 conference wins so far. In their last game, they defeated the Horned Frogs 24-21 on Saturday, September 30th. TCU led 21-14 at halftime, but they failed to score any points thanks to West Virginia's stout defense. TCU was forced to punt 4 of their last 6 drives to end the game. Their other 2 drives ended in a missed field goal. West Virginia scored 10 points in the second half to take the lead and the eventual win. Starting quarterback Garrett Green returned from injury against TCU. Green threw for 142 yards on 10-for-21 passing. He did not throw an interception or a touchdown in the game. The main offensive weapon for West Virginia came on the ground. Green led the team with 80 rushing yards. He also added 2 touchdowns for himself. Running back C.J. Donaldson Jr. rushed for 61 yards on 22 carries and a touchdown. West Virginia's defense is led by Leak Pogba. The linebacker has recorded 40 tackles, which is the most on the team. Tomo Aduroji leads the Mountaineers with 3 sacks. Beanie Bishop Jr. has the most interceptions with 2 picks on the year. West Virginia is averaging 26.4 points per game this season, which ranks 85th. They are rushing 192 yards per game, which ranks 32nd. They are the 122nd ranked passing team as they are averaging 156 yards per game through the air. On defense, the Mountaineers are allowing 19 points per game, which ranks 31st in the league. They are giving up 115 yards per game on the ground, which ranks 35th. They are the 63rd best passing defense as they are allowing 220 yards per game through the air. West Virginia is 4-1 against the spread this season. They have covered in 4 straight games entering Thursday night. The Mountaineers are 2-0 against the spread when they are favored this season. West Virginia is 1-1 against the spread when playing on the road. The under is 3-2 overall during West Virginia games. The under has hit in 3 straight games entering Thursday. The under is 3-1 this season when the total is 52.5 is less this year. On Thursday night, West Virginia is set to face Houston in the latest Big 12 matchup, and it holds particular significance as it marks a homecoming for Cougars head coach Dana Holgorsen. This game marks his first encounter with his former team, the Mountaineers, since his departure. Holgorsen's Cougars team has faced a challenging start in the inaugural Big 12 conference slate, currently holding a 0-2 record. Notably, they've encountered difficulties on defense, ranking 98th in terms of yards allowed per game, particularly struggling against the rush, as seen in their game against Texas Tech where the Red Raiders surpassed 200 rushing yards. West Virginia's strength lies in their formidable rushing game, ranking 32nd in accumulated rushing yards per game. Their offense thrives on the run, making it a key factor in their potential away victory on Thursday night. Additionally, the Mountaineers' improved defense is poised to pose challenges for the Cougars. Houston has struggled when playing as underdogs this season, with a 1-2 record against the spread in such situations. On the contrary, West Virginia has a solid 2-0 record against the spread when they have been favorites. Considering these factors, the recommendation is to take West Virginia to cover. Houston is 2-3 overall this season. They have had a rough start to their Big 12 conference career as the Cougars have lost to Texas Tech and TCU. The 2 wins have come against Texas San Antonio and Sam Houston. The Cougars' 3rd loss came against Rice on the road. In their last game, Houston lost 49-28 on Saturday, September 30th. Early in the second quarter, Houston did lead 21-14, but the Cougars failed to score it in the second half, which was their downfall. Houston punted on 4 of their final 6 drives. Their other two drives were a failed fourth down conversion and the end of the game. Starting quarterback Donovan Smith threw for 336 yards on 34-41 throwing. He threw 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. The rushing game accumulated 153 yards, which was led by running back Parker Jenkins. He rushed for 71 yards on 13 carries. Wide receiver Samuel Brown had a big game against Texas Tech. He caught 10 passes for 113 yards. The defense for Houston struggled to defend the run. Texas Tech rushed for 239 yards out of their 400 yards that they accumulated. The Red Raiders converted 6 for 11 on third down, which was a big help to their win. The Cougars could not get off of the field in the loss. Smith has averaged 270 yards of passing per game this season. He has thrown for 9 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He has been sacked 13 times through 5 games this season. Jenkins and Smith have rushed for a combined 6 touchdowns this year. The Cougars' defense is led by Malik Robinson, who has accumulated a total of 37 tackles. Lineman Nelson Caesar leads the team with 4.5 sacks. Malik Fleming is the top secondary member with 3 interceptions. Houston is averaging 27 points per game, which ranks 81st. They are averaging 281 passing yards per game, which ranks 26th. The Cougars are averaging 133 yards per game on the ground, which ranks 95th. On defense, the Cougars are allowing 30 points per game, which ranks 99th. They are giving up 163 yards per game on the ground, which ranks 98th. Houston ranks 92nd in passing defense as the Cougars are giving up 242 yards per game. Houston is 2-3 against the spread this year. They are 2-1 against the spread during home games this season. The Cougars are 1-2 against the spread when they are underdogs. The over is 3-2 this season in Houston games. The over has hit in back-to-back games entering Thursday night. The over is 3-0 when the total is listed at 52 points or less. Offense will be the main story in this game on Thursday night. These two teams have a knack for scoring in bunches and giving up points in bunches. The over is 3-0 when the total is set at 52.5 points this year for Houston games. The under is 3-1 at that same mark for West Virginia games. What will be the difference will be Houston's comfortability at home, which will lead this game to be an offensive showdown. Take the over on Thursday. Next we have SMU versus East Carolina. SMU has a 3-2 record and a 1-0 record in their conference. Their only 2 losses came against stout competition on the road against Oklahoma and TCU, while they won convincingly against Louisiana Tech, Prairie View, and Charlotte. In their most recent 34-16 win against Charlotte, their running back Jalen Knighton fueled the offense, carrying the ball just 11 times for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging nearly 14 yards per carry. Their quarterback Preston Stone performed relatively well, going 14-23, throwing for 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The receiving work was split throughout, with no receiver having more than 3 receptions or 40 yards. The defense was also a highlight for SMU as they held Charlotte to just 2 touchdowns. Look for them to build off this impressive performance as they continue conference play. The Mustangs enter their upcoming game on the road against East Carolina as 12.5-point favorites, despite the line opening up at 9.5. SMU is a little banged up, with 2 of their running backs being listed as questionable for Thursday, but this shouldn't have too much of an impact given they have made it clear that Jalen Knighton is the lead back. Expect them to play well again this game behind the legs of Knighton and some occasional passing when necessary. They should be more than capable of winning this game, but for them to cover the spread they need the defense to build them a lead early so they can rely on the run game to close it out. Their receiving core is a little thin, and they haven't found much production through the air, so they need the run game and defense to step up moving forward. If they can keep East Carolina's offense in check and continue to run the ball as they have, they will have a very good chance of covering their spread this game. I'm choosing the Mustangs to secure a victory in this game and cover their spread for a couple of compelling reasons. East Carolina hasn't presented convincing factors to instill confidence in their performance. Their offense appears disorganized, and the defense struggles against teams of average caliber, conceding 30 or more points in all their games, except against Rice. With SMU's reliable running game and the capability to pass effectively when needed, they're likely to establish a substantial lead early on and utilize their running game to control the game's closing stages. This is where the Pirates encounter difficulties, particularly when falling behind in games, exposing weaknesses in their offense. They have a mere 51.8% completion rate in pass attempts and an average of just 5 yards per completion. If they trail in this game, the likelihood of recovery diminishes, and they may find themselves losing by a margin of 2 or more touchdowns. Despite both teams being known for engaging in high-scoring contests, this dynamic won't favor the Pirates in this particular matchup. Given these considerations, I am confident in endorsing SMU to cover their spread in this game. Taking the over in this game for a couple of reasons. This line opened up at 50.5, but has since moved down to 49.5. However, I believe there could be some reverse line movement in play. To put this in perspective, when these teams have faced off in the past, their total has been set at 60 points or higher since 2015. Even with these extremely high totals, these teams have still gone over in 7 of their past 8 matchups. Neither team is known for their defense by any means, and with SMU averaging nearly 34 points per game on the season, we should see plenty of offense this game. Expect the Mustangs to cover their team total and likely hang up 30 or 40 points behind their stout offense, while the Pirates do their best to keep pace and put up 20 or 30 points in the process. All of SMU's games so far have had at least a 60-point total, besides Rice, so this line seems very undervalued. I would confidently take the over this game as there will likely be nothing but offense this game. Our total pick is over 49.5.